Let's see how this goes. This is the first YouTube version of our Instagram live series, which I guess we can't call it Instagram live series or YouTube live series.
The live series.
Right? So, welcome to our first Alternative Blacks live on YouTube. Going to be hearing feedback soon, hopefully, from the. Yeah, maybe you won't hear it, but I definitely hear our voices, so that works. That's a good sign. So
Very
welcome to
good
YouTube
sign.
Live, Alternative Blacks podcast. And today, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? We're going to talk about uh, we're going to be talking about the Roots picnic coming up this weekend. Really excited because I've never been before. Tyler has had some black experience at this picnic,
The unfortunate naming
so
of my experience. Yeah.
he's going to give us an overview and a rundown of what to expect, and we're just going to kind of go over that and you know just I want to really hear about your experience last time in terms of how it made you feel,
Yeah.
because I think that's really what I'm excited for. So before we get into any of that,
Beer. What are you drinking?
right,
What are you drinking
man,
now?
this is weird.
Why don't
It's
we
weird
flip
doing it
that?
in reverse. I am drinking Extra Tickle Parts by Levante Brewing. It's a double dry hopped IPA. It is at. Have you had Extra before?
I believe I've had extra before. I've definitely felt extra ticklish.
It's 7.1% ABV. Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe, and El Dorado.
Ooh,
So
all the best type of hops. As we are going through this, for those that do jump in to take a check, I see there's two people in here. I think I'm one of the two. I don't know if you're one of the two.
I'm not.
But for those that are jumping in and checking out, just make sure that you say hi within the chat box because, again, we are definitely going through some learning pains with this, and it's going to take a while till we get this running smooth. But I just want to see
Yes.
who jumps in and be able to say hi to you guys because it doesn't pop up the way that it does like we were doing on Instagram. So any feedback is going to be nice. Do we sound okay? Who's in there because we love communicating with you guys, especially when we get to asking some of these um, fan questions or viewer questions that we have. When we start to answer those,
Yeah.
it will be easier for us to tell you, um, speak to you guys. So,
Yeah.
how
I
do you
think
like your? What's up?
I was gonna say I think just generally, I'm a YouTube guy more so than anything else,
Right.
and the way YouTube has done it does lives just works so much better than Instagram. I know that it's kind of just a completely different platform that should be better at it than Instagram, I guess.
Right.
But Instagram just sucks in terms of just like technical issues. Like I could never see the chat.
Yeah.
Besides, like basically, I had like a 10-minute window where I was able to see the chat live, and then
Ever.
after that, it just stopped.
That was that 10
Yeah,
minute
like every
window
time,
ever.
every
Yeah.
time, like after the first 10 minutes, I couldn't see anything new in the chat ever. So this is going to be a lot smoother, hopefully. We got a whole fancy setup here going on.
Eventually, I'm gonna have to get a screenshot of what it looks like to show you someday. Um, but hopefully, this is all gonna work out in the long run. Hoping to get some music playing for you guys and do some fun, really fun things that make the live experience actually better than the show. So
Yeah, yeah, this is gonna be hopefully just the next level of presentation.
that's what we're
We're up
hoping
in we're
for.
up in the budget, guys. So get in here.
It went
Uh,
from 0 to 0.
yeah, it
Oh
just
no,
looks
that
it's a
that's a
better
lie.
looking zero.
It went from 0 to $158.
Yeah, but that's like indirect. It's direct, but it's indirect.
But
But
what would you rate the extra tickle parts?
I was trying to see, and on taps being weird. I think I had this before because I was thinking of. I think I've had all these before, and I think last time I had this, I it had to be like 4 or 5 or higher, and I think I'm right around a 4 or 5 right now. Probably only because it's really hot and it is double dry hop, so it's just a little bit thicker. It's not a hazy by any, as you can see, it is opaque, but it's not a hazy New England by any stretch of the imagination. So, um, I'm going right around a 4 or 5 with this one. Super balanced. Obviously, it has your favorite hop, my favorite hop. Um, I can't come up with a joke for El Dorado, whose favorite hop that would be. What's the guys from that Disney? Was it a Disney movie? Yeah, yeah. And then Citra's like everyone's favorite hop, so that's like the world's favorite hop. Do we know what the world's favorite hop is? The
No,
most
it's
popular hop
what
in the
is
world?
the most popular hop in the world? I am limited to my outside capability of the screen because if I go anywhere, everybody will see where I'm going, and by everybody,
Ah,
the apparent two other people that are in this chat. So,
yeah.
who I don't
Well,
know,
I
if you
can.
are in this chat, please tell me who is watching. Write it in the chat.
Most
Four.
popular hop. I can. I got my phone available to me.
Nice.
So,
Um, but I
what are
will.
you drinking, bud?
I'll show you what I'm drinking. It was more of a gimmick beer to start the show while we were trying to figure everything out. I
A
am
gimmick
drinking
beer?
a
It's a
blue moon.
what?
Because once in a blue moon, you'll find us on YouTube doing the live.
That's not why you picked a blue moon.
Of course it is.
That's really why you picked.
No,
the blue moon.
no. It's this is what I had from over the weekend. We were watching, the games and everything lately. So it's been my good luck beer. But I will be going to the fridge to grab the real beer as soon as I finish this beer. But yeah, so
That's not real beer.
look.
Blue Moon's not bad, man. For what it is, it's not bad. Apparently, Citra is the most popular beer popular hop in the world.
Isn't that your favorite hop?
Simcoe, sir.
Okay. So you're not too basic.
What would you rate your Blue Moon, Tyler?
So I feel like my rating system has changed probably since the last time I've logged a blue moon. And that's to say I don't know what my original rating on Untapped would have been. Would it have given it a 5 because it's a blue moon? Everybody likes a blue moon and it's good. Or would I have rated it lower because it wasn't craft beer? And now it's, well, did they do what they set out to do and did they do it well? And that's a yes. So
That's a hell yes.
So that automatically puts it in the 4 range.
I'm trying to freaking. You had to have checked this in, right?
Who knows?
It's not coming up.
So I'll get away with saying a 4 today, and it won't be.
It won't be blasphemous.
Right, it won't be blasphemous.
It won't. It won't hurt your reputation on Untapped.
Exactly.
You thought you were gonna have to put your money where your mouth is on the rating, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, this will bring my average up.
Yeah. What is your average? Is still sitting at like a low 3, huh?
No.
Oh no, it's 3.68.
Yeah, I've been.
That's not bad.
I've brought that bad boy up to a respectable number.
Yeah, a few years ago it was like a 3.4, 3.2, 3.4.
All this beer is shit. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Dude, you checked in a lot of. Okay, you want to know what your standard Blue Moon score was?
What was it?
3.
See, and I brought it up a whole percent.
You brought up way more than 1%.
I know I did. Yeah, I brought it up a whole point is what I meant.
Yeah, which is funny because you the other types of blue moon, the other see you are full of hot air. The other types of blue moons, like the white IPA, you gave a 4. A chai spiced ale 3.5. Cinnamon horchata ale
I
from
had the
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon variety pack. I forgot about that.
I was like, where did you get all this stuff? And
Yeah,
then,
there was a variety pack, and I can't believe Blue Moon makes a variety pack.
yeah, that explains why most recent check-ins were all December 15th for those 3 things.
Of this year? I mean, of last year?
No, 2015.
Okay, I was about to say.
April 13th of 2014.
Was I not 21?
And you were born you were, yeah, exactly. That was that's what that was 4 days before you turned 21.
You count that. That's 21.
So what I'm seeing is that technically this doesn't count then. You weren't 21 yet, so it doesn't count as a rating. So you were actually rating this beer for the first. Oh no, that 3 was from 2017. That 3 rating. So I just think that's hilarious that it was April 13th of 2014.
Look,
That is hilarious.
We're not going to talk about that. So I am still very confused about the chat box, obviously. And that's where my mind is at, so.
Why are we confused about the chat box?
I just expected to see something pop up because when I ran the tests, that's what happened. But I am going to grab my, there you are. Hi, buds.
There I am.
Okay. But I'm going to grab a beer real quick while you tell us about what you are most excited about in terms of the Roots Picnic before I get into regaling everybody, which would be us, about my experience at the Roots Picnic.
Ah, yes, regaling. Well, to preface the regaling, I guess I'm most excited about. I guess I'm most excited about just being out and in good weather, enjoying what seems to be a really like big annual event. A lot of big names, and I'm really hoping that it doesn't rain because the weather forecast is like some bullshit. It's like a 50% chance that it's just gonna rain on us Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, and then Monday's gonna be nice, Friday's gonna be nice, but Saturday, Sunday, not nice.
Of course.
Potentially.
Potentially.
So gonna have to work through some of that.
So,
but I'm just excited about the energy, I guess, of the picnic. I'm excited to just kind of be out in, I don't know, the grass or just in relative nature. Definitely nature for Philly. So, wait, what? Oh, jeez.
What death?
Sorry, this is the death chair.
I thought I was able to throw my pet's toy, the dog toy, all the way over to you, and I thought he got
halfway
to.
across the state.
Yeah, I was excited for a second. I was like, oh.
No, I'm just dealing with death chair, where just occasionally it just doesn't stop when you lean back.
I'm dealing with death dog, so.
Where occasionally he tries to kill you. Yeah, so I'm just excited to just experience it. I've heard about the Roots Picnic, obviously, many times before. It's gone on for, I don't know how long it's been going on, but it's been going on for a very long time now.
Yeah, and again, if I would have been able to
Frick.
operate my computer the way in which I was hoping to operate it, I'd be able to pull up all these stats and talk about those different things. But that's just not in the cards for tonight's show. So what I am drinking, while this dog annoys the shit out of me, is called Bagels and Schmear by none other than Other Half Brewing Company.
I figured it was going to be an other half because it was a food that makes no sense for a beer.
And it's just like, I wish like some of their names actually had like relevance into what you were, and maybe they do. Maybe there's some sort of relevance that we just do not understand quite yet, right?
No, it can't be. First Roots Picnic was 2008, by the way.
Okay, so that's like, that would make sense for like why it might be so popular within our like generation, really.
Because like it was just starting out like right as we were hitting that like young adulthood.
Well, it's like, think about 2008 is when we're graduating from middle school, right?
Right.
Or is that the
or freshman year?
Freshman year.
That would have been freshman year because then 2009 summer, 2010 summer, 2011 summer we graduated. So freshman into sophomore year.
Right. So I have to imagine that a lot of the artists were artists that we grew up listening to.
Like Jack Frost.
I'm sure the Philly dudes had them scared in the building. Seen too many beards in the building. Low key, every year I'm just like looking and seeing if those like that little line might say Jack Frost out of like some hope. They're bringing state property. State property is going to be there, so I'm just like, there's a chance.
They like apples. It's going to happen.
So I thought that was cool.
Have you, speaking of Jack Frost, have you ever thought, man, walking through Philly, like, man, I really hope I just like run across Jack Frost, you know?
You know, I thought about that the other day. Even if I did run across Jack Frost, and I work in West Philly, right? Even if I did, I honestly wouldn't have known.
Are you saying he looks very stereotypical?
Nope, that's not even what I'm saying. What I am saying is, at any given point in time, if you were to show me a lineup of people and say, pick out Jack Frost, I'm thinking if it's a light-skinned, heavy-set, bearded guy, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one.
This is a lineup of all those types of people. Yeah, you're probably right.
I'd be like, fuck me if I know. Is that Freeway?
Alright, Freeway's not like heavy set. The beard adds a few pounds.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able, like, I think the big point is I would not be able to say, oh, look, there's Jack Frost if I was walking around.
But remember, in a lineup, you can make people step forward and say, like, a line.
You lose!
So you just make them, you make them step out and go, okay, repeat this phrase. Now you got the West Philly blues, you lose. You lose. That's him. Because I got the West Philly blues.
That's Jack Freezy. Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow. Jack who? The only Jack we recognize is Frost.
Only Jack we recognize is Frost. That's a very Philly sentence right there. Are there any other Jack rappers? Sorry, we're getting way off topic, but I think it's interesting, right?
I mean, I'm about it.
What other rappers go by Jack?
I don't know. I wish I could look.
Look it up.
Jack Skellington.
I don't even have a joke for that one.
He's got some bars. You know, if he did a verse with Meek Mill, it would be "Dreams and Nightmares" before Christmas.
I thought you were gonna say he has bars, as in like his outfit kind of looks like a barcode.
Ah, your mom's in the chat. Hello, Robin.
All right. Apparently, Jack Harlow is the only Jack that's ever existed in hip hop.
J-A-C-K, but Jack Frost is J-A-K-K.
This is true.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we going with this? The weekend, the lineup. You're excited about just enjoying the outdoors and enjoying the experience that is. Oh, I never showed you my Schmear.
What an absolutely other half-ass label that
Right.
is.
It's a double dry hopped IPA, and that's a hazy IPA brewed with a hand-selected blend of hops, giving notes of lychee, stone fruit, tropical fruit, and gooseberry.
So, you know, you could have. I already knew that. You said other half. I already knew it was a double dry hopped IPA. I knew it was going to have notes of lychee because all of their beers have notes of lychee, and most of them have notes of dragon fruit too.
But gooseberries.
That's definitely a new one.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
What's that from?
Willy Wonka.
Really?
It's the scene when there's the wallpaper. It's like, go ahead, lick it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do you have any questions or anything particular that you would like me to talk about with the Roots Picnic?
Yeah, I had a question, but it kind of got answered, but I'm not sure. So, we were, because it's at the Man, right?
Yeah, it's at Man Center, it's Fairmount.
Yeah, right, in Fairmount. I was going to ask, can we bring chairs? Because I have some badass fold-out chairs. Apparently not.
No, I doubt that you'd be able to get it in with the chairs. I actually need to run through that. I need to run through that whole section of like what you can bring, can't bring, can bring. Just because.
Yes. So basically, it's like going to any other. Like we read through that list, I think yesterday. It's like going to any other festival. You can bring a blanket.
Okay.
Because it is a picnic. We're not gonna deprive you of a blanket.
Okay, so you can bring a blanket, but like what kind of bag can you bring in? Because I'm assuming you can't bring in like a fucking tote bag.
Small clear bag. You know.
So not a bag that a blanket.
They have They have like the airline rule of like 2-ounce bottle of like lotion or suntan lotion or something. So you can bring your 2
dog?
SPF suntan oil or dog, you know.
My 2 SPF suntan oil, the one that smelled like bananas.
Yeah, I'm protected. 2 SPF.
That was bad. Those were bad days.
Those are real bad days.
But the best of days.
Oh, look at Connor. Look at him.
He's been a terror.
I don't know. He hasn't. Look at him.
The last time I got a good night's sleep was Atlanta.
Without him there.
Yeah.
What is he, a newborn?
What, like a year and 6 months?
But he's acting like a newborn human child.
Trying to look all innocent here. Yeah, you hate to see it.
Yeah, you see it. I mean, I love to see it.
He saw him blink.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so the Roots Picnic is definitely one of those interesting things. I think they never do a really good job describing what type of camera you can bring in, because I saw people with like whole vlogging like setups like going through it when I was there last, pre-pandemic and everything like that. Um, and that's always the interesting thing to me, because like I want to bring a good camera, but at the same time, like what happens when you show up with this nice camera and they're like, oh, you can't bring that in, like
Now you're screwed.
I'm not getting rid of the camera, right? Like the camera's more expensive than the ticket.
Fair enough. But this is I guess the other cool thing is, I guess this is going over the entire weekend. And so there's like, it's just such a big thing. And
So last time, I don't remember it being a 2-day event. Like it was just the day.
okay, so you think it expanded
I think so. And again, like I only been to one before, and before it was down at the waterfront. I think before getting moved to the main. I'm pretty sure. Like it started off as like a smaller thing. It just became as big as it was, or as big as it is, which is really cool. Um, Ari Lennox performed at it last time that I was there as well, and that was when I felt true heartbreak. When she was doing, was it Shea? What song is she featured on? Is it Shea Butter Baby?
is that her song?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that
yeah.
her song?
That he's featured on.
Who, Tyler?
J. Cole. And
Jermaine.
and right when he's supposed to come out, she goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, help me bring to the stage J. Cole," and my heart stopped. And then she said, "Nah, I'm just kidding." And I'm pretty sure my soul left my body. I don't know if it's ever been back.
He's just been soulless for, what has this been, 4 years now? I think that was like a 2019 thing. It was 2019 because it was right before Fresh Fest. Wow. Are you gonna find it? Is that why you moved to Philly to like locate
Find
your
my
soul?
soul. Just
Yeah,
out there in the
it's
ether.
just floating around. Yeah, it's just floating around.
But
Probably in like, it's probably in Germantown or something.
right. But I am really excited for this festival. I think what was really cool was just like, being from Reading, what's it, like 13% of the population is black, right? Like
Something like that.
It's not a big like population. Our population was really diverse when you look at the rest of like America, but like it just wasn't that type of diversity. Like coming down to Philly has been a really interesting experience now. Just being around a school that's majority like black, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a different experience. There's different issues and everything that just happens to be going on. And the Roots Picnic was really one of the first experiences in my adult life where, I was just surrounded by so many black people and so many like positive elements and just a really big sense of community. I think that was really cool. Just seeing, even the night before, where they're doing like this DJ preview event at the TLA, and just like everybody dancing and just like the way that they got the crowd moving and stuff like that. I thought that was like a really positive, uplifting like voice and experience, because a lot of times you're hearing about Philly, you're hearing about like the negative things about Philly, the crime, the poverty and all this stuff, and that's never separated from the blackness. That's always like compounded on top, right? Like people that are often talking about the crime and the poverty and the drugs are always talking about the black element that exists within that too, while failing to acknowledge the persistent, the perpetual element that's outside of the blackness, the politics, the racism that's kind of fostered that type of experience for Black people, I think. And so to see a bunch of Black people in Philadelphia having a good time, in a positive place, was just like, whoa, this is what this community is about. This is like what this is all about. And I thought it was such a cool experience. It really prompted me to want to do more with the podcast. It really prompted me to like think about what us hosting an experience could someday be in the future. You know, as we are preparing to do our first collaborative beer, but just even think about what is. Obviously, I'm not trying to compete or do something in competition with Barrel and Flow, but like what does that on a smaller scale with us hosting it look like? You know. Barrel and Flow being the first like real Black beer festival for Black people, I think the natural next step is for there to be more Black beer festivals.
That's true.
And that's happening. You know, you're seeing that happen a little more, but there's no reason that we can't partake in that, even if it is on a slightly smaller scale. So we're largely
Agreed.
smaller scale. So
Absolutely. You just made it all the more important, I guess, for us to be there and experience it, and it's going to be obviously a good time. And I'm just hoping for kind of that same experience you had, you know, that same just wow, it's an awakening of some sort. But it also kind of makes me realize, going back like in context when we're talking about it, you know, you did that in summer 2019, so that'd have been like June of 2019, and then I was able to go to Fresh Fest in August of 2019, and it was kind of like two sides of the same coin, where we both kind of had that same feeling coming out of it. So that's why I'm excited, because it makes me anticipate feeling that same type of way from Fresh Fest that first time that I was able to go.
Yeah, like to that point, I think that's a really good comparison, because I didn't get to Barrel and Flow until last year, and I guess in my mind I didn't even compare Barrel and Flow with Roots Picnic until now, because Roots Picnic is based off of a culture that is, you know,
deeply rooted.
It's deeply rooted in us. We built that, right? Like,
yeah, the roots are there.
Yeah,
quite literally and figuratively.
Right. And so I think that was a little bit of a different experience than from like Barrel and Flow, which is like craft beer, and even though there are roots, Black roots within craft like beer in particular, they're just not as strong, and they're just not as strong. They're not ever present. Like they're not there when you walk into every brewery, versus like hip hop culture. It's undeniably Black, right? And I think but I think Roots Picnic Barrel and Flow is a very good comparison, because the way you felt walking in and out of Barrel and Flow was just like, oh, I am with my people. Like, this is my experience. I get to be unapologetically. I think
that's I think that's what I'm excited for. And also in a way, like, obviously you have things that are big artist names are everywhere, or, you know, big name artists are everywhere in certain festivals and stuff like this. But this one just seems, maybe it's because it's Philly and we're like, we grew up close to it. That's the closest major city to us, so maybe we feel a little more like, maybe it's a little more like a hometown thing, like feel to us, where it's just like the Roots have been around since the 90s, right? And, you know, they have like, you know, that is set up, like you said, it's kind of like this older thing that obviously has the newer age people too, but it has that history, that feel of just that feel of like it's been there for so long, because at this point it has, right? And I think with Fresh Fest, it's like with the Roots picnic, it's I'm going there and I'm going to feel great being there. And when you think back on it, it's like, oh yeah, this is what you should feel when you're there, and it's not going to disappoint. It's not going to disappoint. I think the reason that Fresh Fest I compared it, even though I think you're right, they're kind of like opposite sides of a coin, is that with Fresh Fest it was like a surprise that this was so established. You know, it felt established. Everything just felt like, oh yeah, everyone here just has like a footing in the industry because the product is so great.
Right.
And you have all these other vendors here, you have all these other breweries here, and their stuff, they're on the outskirts, and their stuff is good, but it's not the inner circle stuff good. Um, so it really like brings up, and I think just like the wow factor of not knowing what to expect and then having expectations exceeded kind of brought it up to where the Roots picnic I have this expectation that I know they're going to meet it, but you know, the expectation's high, and they're going to meet the expectation, if not exceed it. But with Fresh Fest, it exceeded it by so much that I think that's where I'm coming with the comparison, because obviously the Fresh Fest is a much smaller scale thing,
Right. And I think with
smaller community.
With Fresh Fest too, what was really cool, like the Barrel and Flow, the experience day of was, here's like a stage for music, but then here's maybe a stage for artists, but the whole focus is this beer stuff, and you're just running around doing beer. And really, in that day, there's not much besides just go try some beer. Here's DJ over there, but
True.
like there's nothing that like brings. From what I remember, there wasn't a thing that brought the night to an end, right? Like, would have been cool if like a nice like, big headliner, a big like award ceremony or something like that, right? There was nothing that like capped it off. This has like Usher, right? Like this.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty great. Well, that's the thing about Fresh Fest though, was they had Nappy Roots do a musical performance
you bitch
when it got dark. So there was an end cap on
you
that.
bitch Nappy Roots.
Yeah. Nappy Roots came in. They had the live instrumentation behind them. It was right there. Like literally, it was like right next to Montclair Brewing's tent.
Hold up.
And I would just like slide over and grab more beer from Montclair Brewing.
Did they perform Aw Nah Hell Nah?
You know they performed. You know they went out on that song.
Did they really?
They went.
You bitch. So, but like, I think what was really cool with Roots Picnic, for me at least, was, this was back again 2019. So this is like maybe 3-4 episodes into our podcast. And they had the podcast stage, because up until that point, like, I knew podcasts could be big, but I just didn't understand, what that really looked like. And so it was Guys Next Door. It was the podcast that we went to see, and one of the guys was like in The Wire or some other shit. Like,
okay, yeah.
There's
I remember
people,
this now.
Yeah, there's people within like that show and they're all doing like big things. I think Mouse Jones does a lot with like the Knicks and like shit like that, right?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. But it was a cool like thing to see them sit down, what that looked like, how chilled like and laid back it was, and it got wheels turning about where we could eventually go, in a long term sort of thing with the podcast. And then, during the pandemic, I actually had the opportunity to go out and record an episode of the Guys Next Door podcast at a Spotify studio at a World Trade Center in New York. And that was a real like crazy full circle event. I was at one point editing some footage. I never went much further with it, but I had the footage, and I could see myself in the front row of the podcast, and I was just like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Like, that was a full circle moment to see, like, me in the audience looking at them to then me in a studio recording them. And I think that was like a real jump off point for me. Just the Roots picnic was like, wow, like, this is what people are doing, and it feels so close, because I was there with Marquise, and he had interacted with them at some capacity, and so after they walked off, he was like, yo, and they knew of him, and so they took pictures together and stuff like that.
Nice.
And again, that was like that real first dive into that connection. That was before I was part of Rec Philly, and just, again, experiencing a really big camaraderie of creatives, Black creatives in the Philly network. And that really fostered like this drive to want to create, but also make it accessible to other people, and not make it like what we see in craft beer, which is that gatekeeping, right? If people have questions, I want to answer them. I don't want to be like, yeah, well, you're going to pay me for my time. At least not for our like demographic, not for our community, because I think that was really what I took out of like the Roots picnic. What I took from Rec Philly was we have to do this for the community, because if we build each other up, it just benefits us all at one time. And it's I think Steven likes to talk about the crabs in the barrel a lot, but I like to position it a little differently. Like, rather than we're all trying to get out at the same time and not working with each other, and so we're building this bridge, but instead of like pushing the next person up and pulling them down to keep them level with you, and now we can never all get out, it's more of, oh, I want to see you succeed, because there's more than enough work for all of us. Like,
yeah,
there is no competition. That competition is a myth.
Yeah, especially nowadays, if we're talking about broadcast communications, creativity, art, all of that stuff, I think we're at a place now where, because of social media, everyone can have a platform, and then because of that, everyone needs an artist, everyone needs an editor, everyone needs a like a videographer, everyone needs these things all of a sudden, an engineer. So exponentially, all of these things have become more, in demand. So, I think it's hard to acknowledge that sometimes for people that have been in it before it was that. So I can kind of see that. I'm sure you've seen that change even pre to post COVID. Even that change where it's like, we wouldn't even be doing the live series if it weren't for if it weren't for COVID.
Well, I was just even going to say that too, was from pre-pandemic, like me going to the Roots picnic very early on in the, if you're seeing my text, that wasn't for you.
Well, that's disappointing.
But I love you. I'm like midway texting the second part of that text. I'm like, why is this green?
See, that's the check right there.
Yeah. And if you were an iPhone, I could have unsend it. I could have unsend that, and you would have never seen it.
But you would have kept sending the next text.
I would have.
So
then I would have been looking over like, why didn't you say anything? But back when we
have a whole conversation, and then she's like completely lost as to what the conversation
would it be the first time? But before the pandemic, back when I was at the Roots picnic, like, this podcast was, we were doing off the Blue Yeti, no visual, and our artwork, our thumbnails for the episodes were Bitmojis.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever Bitmoji made the most sense. And now, like, we're here, and we from doing Instagram Live for the duration of COVID up until this live, which is our first one on YouTube. This is incredible. There goes Connor.
He believes it's incredible.
Yeah. Take it from him.
What is he barking at? Is he barking at the wall?
Loud neighbors.
Oh, yeah, you tell him, Connor.
Got a whole mohawk going up. It's like, it looks like me at like the end of 9th grade.
Oh, I was going to say he looks like Zoidberg when he's mating season. Yeah.
But I think that's the incredible thing to look at. It's where you start from and where you get to. Now, we've been doing this for, I think, 4 odd years.
4 odd futures, yes.
Yeah.
No,
well, speaking of like people that I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been 4 years.
Speaking of people I'm excited to see, Sid from the internet. Remember Sid?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So she'll be performing. I'm really excited to see Sid. I think she'll do she. I don't know. I say they just to cover my bases.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be an incredible performance. Lucky Day will be there again, and remember we saw Lucky Day with Keanu Lede and LMA at the Fillmore, and that was an incredible experience, and it was in such a smaller like venue, right? And so
right.
I'll be excited to see, because he's gotten much bigger than back then. So that would be an incredible performance to see.
Kind of cool to have that we had that experience with him beforehand.
Right. I even think of stuff like, I'm not necessarily a big fan of City Girls.
No.
However, I think that will be a truly amazing experience.
Probably will be. The energy.
The energy. I think that's what it really is. It's like, again, you got to think. For me, it comes down to it's almost that like respectability politics, right? Where you're expected to perform better, or the black excellence, right? Where you're expected to do better, perform better, show up better, be more polite, be more educated, like all these other things.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to be you, right?
Sometimes you just gotta bust it down, yo.
But that's what's going to be exciting about, as much as like I don't really care about Glorilla, as much as I don't care about City Girls. I think those performances, seeing live and seeing how hype everyone gets around that, that will be interesting. Now, Blueface, right? Was that Bust Down Tatiana, right?
Yeah.
Fuck that. Saw that live and was like, oh, this person is Garbanzo Beans. And that's before he was beating up on his partner. So
well, he was horrific. Yeah, he's just not good. I never understood why he was popular.
Whoa. I remember seeing that and thinking, I was like, oh, yeah, I never needed to experience this in my life.
It's just like I don't see it. Like there's some, maybe that I felt old at that moment. I think that's the moment that I felt old, because I was just like, I don't get it.
Right.
I just don't understand. There are no redeeming qualities in my mind.
Zero.
You know?
I'm actually
zilch.
Nada.
Zilch. Nada.
Let's see. Who else do we have? Lil Uzi Vert, I could get behind. I'm gonna have to
You gotta have a little Uzi Vert because they're gonna play that I Wanna Rock song,
hmm
right?
The
Do I sound old enough yet?
yeah, I don't know who the Soquarians are. Maybe I'm fucked up for that. But
Aquarian.
featuring the Isley Brothers.
All right. Okay, now we're talking.
Our whole thing is the sample game. So.
Isley Brothers out of nowhere. I like that.
But you also have the state property reunion. Like, obviously, headline for that night, Miss Lauryn Hill. So, but I don't even have to have that discussion. It's fucking Lauryn Hill.
Yeah. Do you think she'll show up on time though?
That was the one question. State.
That's why she's at the end.
State property reunion.
That's gonna be fun.
That is exciting. Sid. If it's the same Sid, I might be thinking of the wrong Sid here, but I thought it was Sid.
SID, right?
No, this is SYD.
Or CID? SYD.
So I might have been excited about something that's not even happening. No, I think it is that Sid.
SYD, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Whew. Division only because of one song. So that's the first night.
I don't think I understood everyone who was in the internet.
Yeah, it was Sid. It was Steve Lacy, and was Old Boy from Earth Gang in there or no?
I don't think so.
No, I only know two people then.
But Steve Lacy, I'm one of those people that are just like out of the loop with things. Mm-hmm. So it took me a while to even realize, like, Steve Lacy, like I knew of the internet,
right?
But I didn't know anything else
Bill
about
Gates. Not Bill Gates. Who was it? Who was the inventor, environmentalist, politician? Al Gore? Did he invent the internet?
Oh, you mean like just the internet?
I'm so sorry.
I
had to reach really far. Confused. I had to reach really far to try to bring in a joke that reached very far.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was bad. Like, what is going on?
Busta Rhymes is supposed to be there.
Yeah, I only now just got the flyer up.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes is supposed to be there, which there's a very big part of my middle school personality that wants then Papoose, Missy Elliott, all of the Touch It remix to pop out of nowhere. Because if I ever got to see Touch It remix live, I could die.
Well, that would be pretty crazy. Yeah. The 9-minute version, though. Literally everyone from the 9-minute version, the 11-minute version. Yes. It was like Neo, I think Usher had something.
Hold up.
Maybe Usher, like Omarion.
Usher will be there.
All right, who else?
Eve,
like random people.
Eve's going to be there, which is a huge Philly shit. That's going to be nuts. That's going to be insane.
Sure will be.
All right, Lennox better not destroy my heart. Lucky Day, DJ Drama.
Uncle Waffles.
How does DJ Drama have a 6:10 set?
6 to 10?
No, like a 6:10 p.m. slot. Like for the one stage, he is because DJ Drama goes into Lucky Day.
For how long?
He has this. The set starts at 6:10. Lucky Day starts at 7:25.
It's not bad.
I'm assuming he probably has an hour. Yeah.
An hour as a DJ. That's good.
Yeah. Charlemagne the God has a podcast that day that I probably will be heavily avoiding.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't say heavily avoiding as much as not caring enough to even seek out.
I will say this: none of the podcasts interest me. There's like the podcast stage has like 8 events, and I just don't care.
Yeah, DJ Academics is the one I will be heavily avoiding.
Yeah.
Cause fuck all that.
What do I need to know about that?
I don't know. He's just gonna have some bullshit to say about anything. Questlove has a. I don't know.
That one. That is the only one.
Yeah. I shouldn't be surprised that anyone has a podcast at this point.
I mean, we have a
podcast. Exactly. What is Poor Minds?
Hopefully it's about...
Because it is poor, P-O-U-R.
I wish my mom was listening right now because she would tell me the difference between poor, like the state of certain sections of Philadelphia, and pour, like what we do to beer. There's a distinct difference in how you pronounce that, apparently.
Yeah, but see the way that we work, we just say it. Poor and poor.
Poor and poor.
Well,
I distinctly remember my mom being in the car. No, it's poor and poor. I'm like, you're just saying the same word twice. That's all.
Oh boy. That's like or you could be like my Teresa and say 5 different words the same way. You got here, hair, her, and it's her, and her.
Her is her.
Yeah, her is her.
My God.
Okay, what is this? Here's a random topic switch. I don't know. Did we have anything else to say about the Roots picnic?
The only thing I will say about the Roots picnic is make sure that you're hydrated as all fuck. I have to look into the water situation, but that will be a thing. How we stay hydrated throughout the whole thing. Now, if it's gonna be rainy or whatever, maybe not as big of an issue.
You just go.
But the year I was there was just like a whole like. We pre-gamed it. We got there. Some other activities happened, and it was just like a big crash.
Yeah, I guess I did have a question like that. Like, what is, like, you get there and there's no concessions at all?
There are. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been at the Man before, but like there's concessions. There's different things. Nothing's that great. There's food trucks. Again, nothing's that like. From my experience, nothing was like oh, we have to make sure we get this or this is a crazy thing. The best part
but if you're in
it,
there, I would say if you're in there, it's more utility at that point.
Yeah, it's not like they're feeding you because you got a ticket or something like that, you know. So there's that element of it, but I think you definitely pre-game, but you also got to figure out how you're going to survive. Yeah, just things. It's just going to be expensive. And maybe that was all relative to when I was there, like 2019? Like, 2019, what, I just quit a job, right? But I was making $36,000 a year. That was nothing. And then I was making $150 a week. And that was really nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all relative. Maybe it won't feel as bad this year, but
it'll still feel bad.
Yeah, it'll still feel awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just bought other half beer, so probably the same
same
price.
difference, right?
Yeah.
It's with $30 for a 4-pack for some of them. I'm just like, but it tastes like this one that's $20 a 4-pack, which is already ridiculous.
So we'll see where that goes. But another element I will say about Roots Picnic was there was an incident, and the way that Philadelphia has been going, not to like try to jinx anything and not to like put a negative light to everything, but the fucking kids have been fucking out of their mind in the city. Like the stupid shit that's going on in terms of violence and just stupidity, like just going in traffic and stopping on cars, right? Like stupid shit. 2019 when I was there, I don't know if it was actually like someone did actually like fire like a gun or anything, or it was just that people like thought they heard a gun. And again, this goes to the bigger element of just society in America and the gun issue that's in America, and like how it's not far-fetched to think like something could happen at a festival like this.
Yeah.
Something did happen at the 2019 one, and I don't think we were at that stage, whatever. But the only person to get injured at that was a white person who didn't run when all the other black people ran.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just going to toss that one up and leave it.
I would like to not have to run.
Same. But I think you and I are both.
But if everyone else is running.
I like those memes, or like the memes on like Instagram where it's just like where somebody starts running around a black person and they just, it's like it's like the Trevor Noah skit where everyone's like yelling about like racism and shit like that and just like protesting, and they're just like, yeah, it's like, why are we protesting? Right? It's like, we just know we should be like protesting because everybody here is doing it. So it's not like
some bullshit's happening.
Right. Exactly. It's like we know that like it's not for a dumb reason. So if you ever see black people protesting, or if you ever see black people running, you just join it.
Yeah. Particularly the latter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was the James Bond thing. Racism.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that when it comes to the Roots Picnic, which means we do have a couple of questions from Instagram.
All right. While you bring those up quick, I'm going to re-up on this beer.
There we go. Again, if I had everything planned out better, I would be able to pull it up for us.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
And I think I unfortunately... I think I had made the story prior to 7 o'clock yesterday. Yes. There is a way that I can do this. Alright, cool. Not now. I see the highlight. Here are the questions. Top 5 favorite cities.
Dead or alive? Oh. Top 5 dead or alive.
Top 5 favorite cities.
Jeez, have I been to 5 cities? No. From what I've experienced, man, I think New Orleans and Atlanta are 1 and 2, 1A, 1B, and I don't know that I can pick an order there.
I would definitely say I like Atlanta more than I like New Orleans, only for the fact that I would live in Atlanta and I wouldn't live in New Orleans.
I live in New Orleans if it were not where it is.
So you would
in terms of there is an entire season where you're gonna die.
So you would live in Atlanta before you would live in New Orleans. It's a 1 and a 2 situation here. That's not a 1A, 1B. That is a 1 and 2.
Well, see, the fun thing about global warming is, though, that you know Tornado Alley? It's not an alley anymore. It's pretty. It's more of like a tornado region, and
Tornado
Western Georgia.
airstrip.
Yeah, Western Georgia is squarely in that now, particularly northwestern Georgia. And I don't know if you are a geography buff, but uh, Atlanta is in northwestern Georgia.
Okay, so Savannah.
I'll do Savannah. I've never been,
Oh,
but it's on the coast, so there's that.
well, can't you get hit by a hurricane then?
Yeah, but you see the way hurricanes work is that they lose power when they go over land.
Is it inland enough?
Well, it's not inland at all, but it's far. I think. Well, Savannah is like right above Florida, though. All right, Charlotte.
Charlotte's in that list. So we got New Orleans, we got Atlanta, New Orleans, Charlotte. All right.
Well, you have Charlotte. I can't put Charlotte because I haven't been. I
Hmm.
just want to.
Charlotte's up there.
So here's my issue, and this kind of just proves how ill-traveled I am. I have to. I think there's a lot of like by defaults here
Okay.
because out of New Orleans, so you have New Orleans and you have Atlanta. After that, major cities I've been to:
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, Buffalo,
I haven't made it to Buffalo yet.
Baltimore.
I do love me some Baltimore.
I do like Baltimore quite a bit. DC.
Eh.
If DC didn't cost what it did, I would really enjoy it.
I think DC's.
Uh,
I think DC is a bullshit city, in the sense of there's so much of the. I don't know. It's like Baltimore. You know how like you like wind up in the pockets of the wire after you like leave Inner Harbor or Fells Point.
DC's like that too.
It's DC is like, oh, here's the Washington Monument, here's the Smithsonian's, here is a neighborhood where like you don't
Extreme
walk
poverty.
around.
Yeah, here's extreme poverty.
And I get every city has poverty, but it's just like, holy,
It's kind of crazy.
shit.
Yeah, here's extreme poverty, but also it's like the most expensive city to live in on the East Coast. At the same time, it's it's like it's got New York beat. And I hate New York for like because it's too fast for me, and that's more of a taste thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's too dense, it's too fast, but
I
I
have
feel like
to.
it offers more than DC
Oh,
does.
100%, 100%.
So it's more of just a taste thing.
Yeah,
for
New
me.
York is 100. The only way, and it barely beats it in that. I think from what I've heard, I didn't even get to experience this. DC beats New York only in brunch.
Well, it is both the capital of the country and the brunch capital of the country.
Um, so I'm looking at through cities like, yeah, there's New York. This is fucking nuts though. New York is nuts. I don't even think that counts when you're talking about top 5 cities in America because it's one of the top 5 cities in the world, right? Like,
Well, it counts then. It's just on a different tier.
it's just a different tier. Like, I don't even want to compare it because it just it feels so like incomparable to anything else, right?
That's fair enough. I
But
put Baltimore up there.
Philly got called out as the #1 city, like most walkable city in America.
Which is bullshit. Unless every other city has a department of stopping people of walking, where they just have
Stop
people
and
out there
frisk.
like, oh, like stopping you from walking across the street. There's no way. The only thing that makes Philly walkable is that everything is a city block, and there's a million of them. So technically, you could walk anywhere.
Bro,
But where are you walking to?
that is what I'm trying to say. It was mind blowing thinking of places like New York that has the High Line, Atlanta, which has the Belt Line. Like, I'm just like, are you out of your fucking mind? There's no way. I went from Bala Kenwood on City Ave to Northern Liberties the other day because I
That's
dropped my.
a long ass walk.
It's a 2-hour walk because I dropped my car off at the Firestone and I walked back. I had to walk through Fairmount, which to get to Fairmount, I had to walk portions of the road that were like, I was off the street, but I was not on any type of sidewalk.
Yeah. You're like in forest, or you're gonna get hit by a car.
I had to cross 31st and Girard,
which is crossing Girard anywhere in West Philly is a death sentence.
So for reference, it's the Philadelphia Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
There is no crosswalk signal.
There sure aren't. There are, however, trolley tracks where you can sprain your ankle at.
So I'm like, okay, I ran across that, and then I was able to veer off, get onto Poplar, but that once I got past the bridge over West Philly to regular Philly, when I got to Poplar, that from there to my spot, which is second in Poplar, that was an hour walk.
Yeah.
So it takes an hour to walk through West Philly, which is considerably smaller.
Yeah, but considerably harder to traverse.
And that's the most walkable city. At least traffic stops for you in New York.
I'm trying to figure out how Philly's the most walkable city when I've literally watched cars drive down the sidewalk in Philly.
I've watched Philly streets be open with no street. Where you had to drive on the sidewalk because there was no street. No, because they dug the street out. Yeah, like there's literally a pit and you had to drive on the street. The street wasn't blocked off. There just wasn't a street.
Yeah. Or yeah, and then, you know, the neighborhood people have to fill potholes because the city won't do it.
But I will say,
but that's neither here nor there.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
I will say.
Well, no, you're gonna say Atlanta first.
Atlanta,
then New Orleans.
Yeah, Atlanta, New Orleans. I love Chicago.
See, haven't been.
So Chicago's up there. Charlotte's there.
How about what are your thoughts on San Antonio?
Y'all can have it.
Okay, Boston.
I love Boston. Boston's a fun. Boston's fun. It's historic. There's a lot.
Your cousin from Boston.
That's more walkable than Philly in the sense of you can walk Boston quicker than you can walk Philly. Great beer. Yeah. Huge amount of racism.
Huge. But then again, who doesn't have racism? You know? At this point, you know, it's just kind of what flavor of it are you getting?
Right. I liked Denver, but the more I travel, the lower Denver's on the list. Baltimore's always up there, as I will say, but Baltimore's fucking tiny as shit as well.
For a major city, it is very small. But I think that's probably why I like that.
Yeah.
And I may be kind of the same deal with New Orleans too, in the sense that like New Orleans is big, like square mileage. It's very large, but like most of it is like along the river on that, you know, built out from the French Quarter in terms of things to do. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't feel too big.
I really enjoy Memphis in a weird way. It's not. It won't bump it. It won't go into the top 5. But I enjoy Memphis.
Have you've been to Nashville, right?
I have.
Thoughts on Nashville?
Nashville's a lot of fun. I think I would have to go one more time because like I've been to Memphis like 2 or 3. Nashville once. I think I would go back to Nashville.
Have you been to Chattanooga? No.
What were you gonna say?
I would say, have you been to Chattanooga?
No, I just want to say
Okay.
Chattanooga. No,
Apparently, it's one of those like up and coming cities, and it's kind of in like the geography of the South confused me for a long time. Like I didn't understand how far west Atlanta was. Because you like you don't realize that the East Coast just kind of tucks
yeah,
in
it does.
after the Carolinas. It just
Oh, I mean, even before, like, you get Massachusetts.
yeah, like pretty much yeah. Like after Virginia though, it just keeps going.
And then
And like
Florida
I didn't
like
realize
limps out.
yeah, exactly. Like I didn't realize that
Flaps their
Atlanta
ass.
is as far west as Cincinnati.
Yeah,
They're basically due north and south of each other.
went from Cincinnati
Cincinnati.
to Atlanta recently. It is
Well, it
a
always blew my
drop.
yeah. It always blew my mind that Hung would be like, yeah, it's about an 8 hour drive from Cleveland to Atlanta, and I'm like, from Cleveland to Atlanta is 8 hours, and like from here, it's slightly longer. I think
From
like 10 hours,
Philly
12.
to Cincy was about like 10 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
And
So I'm just like, how? And then it's like, oh, because Atlanta is
yep.
literally that far west.
No.
So yeah. I would. I
Nashville was
think.
fun. It was just it felt like it's one of those cities again where it's you have like your strip, which was again very Memphis like as well, where you have your street, right? You have Beale Street, you have like Broad, I think is Nashville,
Yeah.
but then everything else is so far. But the thing I liked about Memphis was the areas, at least that I stayed in Memphis, were just like really cool. And I wound up in some like really cool coffee art district, bar spots. Speaking of Cincinnati, though, that was an incredible experience. Cincinnati's a slept-on city.
Well, they can keep sleeping on it as long as Skyline Chili's a thing. I'll sleep on that.
You just gotta try it.
It's garbage. I don't have to try it. It's
Okay.
garbage. People from the area say it's not great.
We have 5 minutes.
All right.
Until the NBA finals start.
All right.
Who is going to win the NBA finals?
Well, this is great. This is a great question because this is kind of what I wanted to
easy.
transition to. And I'll lead in to your answer, and I'll let you answer first. Miami in?
What? No.
Miami in? How many?
Do you really think Miami's going to win this?
Here's what I think. I literally think it's a 50-50 shot.
Wow, you're the first person I've heard say that.
Because for some reason Miami makes team like I don't count Boston because Boston is so inconsistent. And they were kind of like that last year. They just kind of got there because the other teams were so inconsistent. But to me, Milwaukee was impressive. Boston is still impressive. I know that it went 7, but the fact that they won 3 games in Boston comfortably is crazy to me. What I will say is I don't think here's what I'll say. I would be less surprised of Denver winning, but I don't think people are saying like, oh, it's going to be a sweep.
I don't think it will be a sweep.
5-game series, 4-1. I think it goes at least 6 games. I would love for it to go 7 games. I think it's going to be hotly contested every step of the way because both teams are just so steady. And what I really enjoy most before I let you finish, I'm gonna let you finish.
I'll let you finish, but first, fuck Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and the click she claim.
Sorry.
Yeah, we ride. Come equipped with game. I think both of these teams deserve like the recognition at this point. I was like, I'm Philly, so Embiid and Jokic, that's like a big matchup type of deal. And I was always like, man, Embiid's better than Jokic. But like in the playoffs, Embiid he he just goes away sometimes. And maybe that's James Harden, but Jokic has not gone away in these playoffs. So like you
Embiid
gotta
was
give it to him.
Embiid game seven. That
Yep.
was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. And then I heard him talk in the press conference.
Oh, we need help. It just can't be me and James. It was like, well, not if you guys score 13 points combined. It can't be you
I
two.
was just like, Maxey showed up, Harris showed up, like
Tobias Harris, the amount of money he makes,
that aside.
the amount of talent he has, he needs to be way more consistent.
True.
Tobias Harris,
showed up
not a
more
pass.
than Embiid.
In Game 7, yeah. But in general,
fair.
yeah. Because the fact of the matter is
seven,
we should have won it in Game 6, but we blew like a 10-point lead with like a few minutes left. So
okay.
And then Jason Tatum went crazy. Game 7 should have never even happened.
But
that's on Embiid and it's on Harden in Game 6 too. So that's a game and 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah, that they just completely shat the bed. It should have never been. It should have been Philly, Miami, and I was really hoping to see that.
And
I wouldn't have even minded. I wouldn't have minded it because you know why? Because I'm pissed that and this is the other reason that I'm hard on Tobias Harris. We chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler.
Dumb. I remember that happening. I remember being happy to go to a
why is Jimmy
game
Butler
Butler
not? Yeah, I was like, why is Jimmy Butler not coming back? Oh, because we chose to give the money to Tobias Harris. It's like, and Jimmy Butler goes down in the bubble. They make it to the finals.
You know how happy
I know you were
I
happy.
found out that we got Jimmy Butler. I was like, what?
All the stuff about Butler and Ben Simmons didn't get along. I was like, screw Ben Simmons.
Simmons. I am finally buying my first piece of Heat paraphernalia. Like I finally got it.
Got a Hemi Butler.
No, I got a Fuego shirt.
Get his coffee. Because like literally everything about Jimmy Butler, I just enjoy because he's just like an eccentric guy outside, like just outside of basketball.
Did you see him in the canoe?
Like, yeah, actually, I did see that. Yeah, like he seems like a guy who doesn't take himself too seriously off the court.
On the court.
Or he doesn't care that he doesn't score 30 points. He just doesn't care. Like that Game 7, that was the most casual 28 points I've ever seen.
So what I will say about the Heat, what I love about them this year, especially, I started watching the Heat when it was Wade and Shaq, right? And that's when I fell in love with the Heat because I thought it was really interesting. Shaq on the tail end, Wade at a pivotal point of his career, and how that team operated. Then obviously came LeBron,
Fun
with
team,
Bosh, with Ray Allen, James Jones,
Shane Battier.
Oh my God.
Udonis Haslem. You can't forget Udonis Haslem.
42 years old and still in the league. And that's
granted,
always been
granted that's
Eric Spoelstra, the Rick Perez of the NBA, which is like Mike Tomlin, the Rick Perez of the NFL. I have a thing for
at
these coaches.
At least that one's physically like. At least Spo doesn't play defense, shadow defense on the sidelines. Mike Tomlin has actually tripped a player, and Rick Perez has done everything except trip a player.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he probably he probably logged a steal.
Spoelstra is very interesting. I love listening to him talk to the team. If you haven't watched Ted Lasso yet, like watch Ted Lasso and then watch Eric Spoelstra like
okay.
motivational speech. It's very similar. It's the whole conversation about like you guys blew a 4 like a 3-0 lead and now you're in game 7. He goes, that's exciting. It is a very exciting opportunity to like have this opportunity. And it's so crazy because a lot of people could blame it on this and that. And he goes, no, this is what we play for. Like you play for a game 7, right? And
this
usually
is what we play for.
And usually that's people talking about like coming back to play a game 7,
yeah.
not losing to play a game 7. But it's a positive element that I really like about Spoelstra.
Yeah. Oh wait, I will be right back.
Yes.
1 second.
Yeah, I'll keep going. But I think like the other element that I really like about Miami Heat, especially this season, it's players that you got excited for that were kind of like those overlooked players. Like, yeah, you got Tyler Hero, but Robinson was a player that I've always liked on that team, but he's not supposed to be like, I think he's a D3 player, maybe D2 player. Gabe Vincent was one of those players that I started watching this season, was just like really impressed by.
All right.
Martin, like the amount of players that are just like showing
the story.
up.
Oh wait, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Was the backstory for Caleb Martin. Have you heard his whole backstory thing? Because you brought up J. Cole earlier.
I thought it was Gabe Vincent.
And I know this. No. It's Caleb Martin. Because he's from Carolina.
I swear that was Gabe Vincent.
Like they were, because him and his brother, I think they're from Carolina, but they're both on the Hornets for a while.
Oh yeah. You're right there.
So that you brought up J. Cole earlier, and I wanted to transition at some point to that. Like, how cool is that? That he's undrafted.
Yeah.
He was on a team a little bit as a bench player and then got cut, and he's just working out in Carolina with J. Cole casually, and J. Cole calls up Caron Butler, who's an assistant for Miami, and he's like, you got to give this kid a chance. And here he is, he just made himself a lot of money in that series.
He really did. He's been showing up like crazy. Caleb Martin's been the other one. Gabe Vincent, as I said. These players that just show up and show out, like as I said, like Duncan Robinson, like they just come in, do what they have to do, and then more. Like I think a frustrating thing is like watching Butler some games and just like he got hesitant he got really hesitant. And
Game 6 was bad.
And I'm just like, bro, you got to shoot it out. You got to stop passing that. Like, and same with Bam. Like, I'm not excusing Bam either. He had so many open shots where I'm just like, bro, I don't care if you miss it from the top of the key. Just you have to try it, and then you have to get back down. Like,
so Bam to me is one of the most frustrating players in the league because he could, like, I don't know what it is offensively. He's a great passer. He can handle the ball.
You should have a triple-double every night.
He's like a Draymond Green who's taller and can shoot better. Not much better, but can shoot better.
And has
but he just
better
doesn't.
Self-control, like is more contained.
Well, yeah, that. But I'm just talking about like his skill set. And he's a great defensive player. But for some reason, offensively, like if he just was more aggressive offensively, he'd be a perennial all-star guy. And so I was more hard on him in those 3 games they lost than Jimmy Butler.
I was on both of them, so
I mean, they were bad. They were both like missing shots. They were both in a slump, but like
I don't care about the
never
missing
got
shots.
out of the slump.
I didn't care about the missing the shots. I cared about not taking the open shot. Like
well, Butler he was way more aggressive in game 7. But Bam was just missing layups. He passed out of that, like Marcus Smart flopped, surprise there. Marcus Smart flopping.
Oh my God, that was frustrating to watch.
And Bam is wide open. I'm like, shoot the ball.
I think
he just passes it.
Game 6 to like determined by like that buzzer beater. There was a couple things that happened earlier on in that game that just made it even more frustrating for me because it shouldn't have been.
They should have been up 3 because like just off of that chart, like that charge that Jimmy Butler, I
But
was
he
like,
made the
how is that a
shot.
foul?
But he
Yeah,
made the
I'm like,
shot. So
how is that a
it turned
foul?
out it
And they're
wasn't.
looking at it for a flagrant, and I was like,
But then who got hit in the face and they didn't call it a flagrant at
mm-hmm.
game 7? I was like, how do you go from game 6 to game 7 like that?
Yeah, the officiating was bad on both sides. I think
Oh
it was
yeah.
just, which is why that ref got caught with like a burner. The ref got caught with a burner account trying to defend officiating because they were getting it from both sides. But
Good.
anyway, I would say I'm hoping for 7 games for the series. I like the way Denver plays. I
Mm,
think Jokic is just fun to watch in terms of like he's not athletic, but he's strong, and the passes he makes are ridiculous, and that makes it fun to watch. Jamal Murray's great. Um and then just like I've really enjoyed watching the Heat. I've never hated the Heat. You know, obviously I'm a Sixers fan, but I've always never was mad when the Heat were doing well, except when they had the LeBron super team. And I'm just like, okay, this is not fair. LeBron took his talents to South Beach. This isn't fair.
that was amazing. That
But
was a great time.
yeah, other than that, like the
Come
Shaq
on,
days, like you said,
you don't get that Dwayne Wade without LeBron being there.
that's pretty cool. The one on the Celtics, actually, the on Jason Terry, where they just set him up for failure. I enjoyed that one because I hate Jason Terry. But you know, no, I enjoyed the Heat since, like you said, the Shaq and Dwayne Wade days. Like
Yeah.
that was such a fun team to watch. And even now that once Wade was, once Wade moved on to the Cavaliers for that time
Hmm.
period, and the Heat were kind of rebuilding
Yeah.
at that point. They were always competitive.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't win a lot of games, but they're always competitive, and I really always
They were fun. Like
enjoyed that.
you had Whiteside for a little bit that looked really
Yeah,
promising and it's kind of
you had
faltered.
Whiteside. You didn't have a lot of talent per se, but like obviously they can develop talent because Duncan Robinson's been on the team for years now.
Years.
Um,
That was,
you had PJ Tucker for a while, which was a
mm-hmm.
really good piece. You have Kyle Lowry now, which I think
It's
super
crazy.
solid to have Kyle
Crazy.
Lowry. That's a Philly guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Philly, went to Villanova. Um, and just like the way they play together, obviously Spoelstra early on when LeBron was around, everyone was like, well, Spoelstra's young. He's not a good coach. LeBron's coaching the team. But
Yeah.
obviously Spoelstra knows what he's doing because after LeBron left, the team is still good.
Yeah. I think
Jimmy Butler is just amazing, and I think he's the perfect person for Miami.
I think it just brings out a lot of the like from the other players. Like that's what
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
enjoy.
he's clearly good enough to average like 35 points if he wanted to. And I think a lot of times people get frustrated because he doesn't take shots, like you said. But at the same time, that's why everyone else is so confident because he doesn't care. So that's why you get a Gabe Vincent. That's why you get Caleb Martin.
Plus, he's like fucking cool with Coco Golf.
Oh yeah, that was random
It's a
as like so
strange
like he's
friendship.
just like Jimmy Butler's just such a like he's one of those guys I feel like I could go have a beer with. And would apparently be a Michelob Ultra because he has the Michelob Ultra commercial.
Yo, he's a fucking country dude. Did you ever hear about that? Did you hear that story?
I did hear about that.
That
So
that was pretty
I
fucking
for
cool for me.
he's just like an odd guy. Like he has a coffee company based out of just hustling people in the bubble for coffee. So now he has his own coffee company. Like that whole thing is just so cool. Um I just really enjoy Jimmy Butler. Ooh, Harry's in here, who
Is
could say
he?
many things. Yeah, of course, I don't know exactly where we're at with the lag, but he said he could say many things about. I
Something.
think we were back complaining about Jimmy Butler, about the, maybe that was about the Sixer,
Yeah,
or
Harry say
about how
those
great Jimmy
things.
Butler is.
Yeah, Harry say
What
them
I'll say,
things.
what I'll say is when we got Jimmy Butler, I was like hell yeah, and then when we let him go, I was like hell no.
I couldn't believe it. I was
I
shocked,
couldn't
and then I
believe it.
found out
I was
where.
like, how about we get rid of Ben Simmons,
Look,
who doesn't want to shoot the ball ever?
so that's all I'll say. Jimmy
Yeah,
Buckets coming
and
down to South Beach was one of the best things that
yeah,
I have seen in a
Himmy
long while.
buckets,
Hemi Buckets, yeah, as
Himmy buckets.
the Miamians.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah, man.
I think for the most part that is the show. This is our first live on YouTube. Obviously, there's some things that I want to continue working on. What's nice is he didn't want to stay anyway, not with Brett as coach or with Ben. Don't blame him. Um,
Yeah, that's fair. Like we said, he hated Ben, um, and Brett Brown. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if Brett Brown was the right guy for all of those people,
yeah,
all of those big personalities. So it is what it is.
yeah.
I enjoy the hell out of them
What I will
still.
say. What I will say is, stay tuned to this. That I think this YouTube series is going to work out. I think this is the platform for us. So share this with people, get people to subscribe. Just so that people are more aware. And even if you guys watch this in a later date, please feel free to comment on anything that you hear during this. I think that's the other benefit for this as well. We're going to continue to try to improve this to make it a more interactive and a more elaborate experience. But I think this is where I would like to stay. There's just a lot more that we can do with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with the podcast itself moving forward, I think being on YouTube and trying to build that base there as well
Yeah.
gives us the flexibility to be able to integrate into things for visual purposes much better. So I'm excited to jump into
Yeah.
this. We have so many big changes coming, big things coming. So I'm just excited to hopefully kind of hit the ground running with everything. And this is definitely a step in that direction because it looks great. Uh, I'm assuming it sounds great.
I'm hoping it sounds great. It looks like we've dropped over the course of 1 hour and 45 minutes, we've dropped 4,060 frames, but that only consists of 1.1% of the broadcast.
That sounds good to me.
I have no clue what that means at all. But up until recently, like we've been in the green as far as like the kilobytes per second. We've been going back in yellow and red recently, which is what I think is attributing to the frame drop for whatever reason. But I think they throttle that shit at night. So
Yeah, and to break up the fourth wall a bit, I do have the stream up.
yeah, it's looking for
But
it.
it looks great. It looks
Yeah.
crispy. So Harry, drop down in the chat / in the comments if this ends before then, how it looks and sounds. Since I know you're in here,
What software are
I
we
definitely need a
using?
lighting setup.
It's called OBS. I don't know what the O, the B, or the S stands for, but that is what we are using. So Harry, I know you've done some stuff in the past as well. Do some stuff. So just hit me up with any recommendations. We're trying things out. It's free. It works. It's not limited. So I enjoy it in that capacity. But
Yes.
yeah. Until next time, which is 2 weeks out, we'll have some recaps over the Fresh Fest, and I think that will be leading us up to brewing. OBS is good. OBS is good.
All right.
We'll be leading up to us doing our first official brew with a official brewing company, which is cool. And we got to talk about maybe a nonprofit that we want to donate to. So,
Word, absolutely. Um, yeah, just stoked for what's to come. Keep following on the socials, on the Instagrams, on the interwebs.
yeah.
And like Tyler said, just get people over to this YouTube, and we'll figure out ways to hopefully divert traffic over here as well, and get it going. So,
Until next time.
peace.
Peace.